This is my least favorite opening statement. It's just hard. When you have a group of young women that you just love, adore, respect, appreciate, it's just hard to see it end. I don't care when and how, it's just hard. And I just couldn't be any more proud. I think about the things that we ask them to do on a consistent basis. It's give to each other and the people around them, to grow every single day, to build consistency of habits of excellence in their lives. And as a leader, I look back and they've done all of those things consistently all year long. And they've brought this program to another level. And I'm sorry that it has to end for Nirra and for Casey Swain. But as I told them in the locker room, they will be a huge part of where this program is going in the trajectory, and they will not be forgotten as we make those further steps forward. But I love them, and I'm just sorry to see it end.
Okay, if we could have questions for student athletes, as usual, we have our two mic holders. If you could direct the question to a particular student athlete, that would be helpful. Questions, please? In the front, and then to Marvin.
This obviously the NIT last year, then getting this far this year. This program is, as Coach mentioned, taking steps up. Is it difficult for you as well to walk away knowing that tomorrow looks really bright and that you're not going to be watching from afar, maybe?
I don't think it's difficult. I'm really happy that this program is growing. I've been here since when we weren't good and we started from the bottom. So to see it now propel forward, I'm very happy and I'm very excited for the future of these young girls because I know they're going to be a great team in the future, and happy I was able to say I contributed to that.
Melvin, and then over here.
Jordin, first half, you guys seem like you can get into your half-court offense pretty easily. The second half, you guys' offense seemed kind of stagnated. What adjustment did Texas make to help you guys get a little off balance?
Well, I think in the first half we were more aggressive. In the second half, Texas just adjusted to being more aggressive and taking us out of the sets that was working for us. So credit to them. That's all I could say was that they were more aggressive down the stretch.
Over on this side.
Rick Hand to the Austin American-Statesman. Jordin, the biggest part of the game was Texas's 10-0 run to start the fourth quarter. Were you surprised that your team didn't respond better at that moment as far as Texas gaining ground like that? And your thoughts on that?
I wouldn't say surprised. I mean, I don't know how to describe it. We just didn't come out aggressive. Like I said, Texas has been aggressive the whole second half. They came out on a 10-0 run, and we just couldn't match it. And I wouldn't say I'm surprised. You can't really describe that feeling. But yeah, I can't describe that.
Any other questions for the UCLA student athletes? Front.
Monique, just in terms of the battle with Amani Boyette, just curious if you could take me through how you think that went and, the early foul trouble, how that affected sort of the way you were able to handle that matchup for the duration of the game.
I would say the game plan was just to go at her early, all positions, guards, posts, everyone. Just go at her to get her in foul trouble. I think we did that well. My guards were looking for me and were able to find me and give me the ball. And I was able to hit some free throws, so I think that helped a lot. And then on defense, I think just guarding her early, not letting her get comfortable in the low post and boxing out. And I think that was just the game plan.
Marvin?
I know you're leaving. What have this whole NCAA tournament meant to you?
Wow, that's a great question. Just the experience alone, something that I'll never take for granted. I'll never forget. You only get to go to college for 4 years, and you only do that once. And being in this tournament means everything to me. I learned a lot that I can use to apply to my future career, and definitely won't forget my teammates and the experience that I had with them. But everything about this tournament, the good and the bad, I'll take with me and kind of just cherish that.
Any other questions for UCLA student athletes? Okay, we'll dismiss the student athletes. Congratulations on a great season. And we'll open up for questions for Coach Close in the front row here.
Hi, Coach. Congratulations on a great season. I have a kind of a negative question and then a positive one.
Start with the negative.
Yes, I was going to then finish on a high note. What was it like watching that fourth quarter, especially the start of it, when you didn't really have an answer for it? And then on the other side, the positive side, do you come away from this? You have a very young team. Is this a learning experience, or is this just a real downer right now?
Well, I think to answer your first question, it was just really difficult. The difference was rebounding. I think we were +5 in the first half, and we were really -11 in the second half. That they ended up +6 for the game. I thought that was the difference, because even when we were getting stops, we were having to take such harder shots. They're a good defensive team. We knew that. If we let them set their defense every time, that was going to be to their advantage. They could switch all those screens. They could, try to keep us in front, make us shoot jump shots. Whereas when we got stops and rebounds, we were able to go out and run and attack before they set that up. And I really thought that was the definitive part and difference in the second half. Aggression, the way Jordin talked about, but really rebounding. Because even when we forced one hard shot, which is the goal of every defensive, we play, they were able to get second and third shot opportunities, and that was the difference. It was really hard. I think, just like I said, our goal is to force one hard shot. I thought that's what they did really well down the stretch. We just couldn't free our guards up for penetration lanes or jump shots, and we weren't able to deliver in the low post on a consistent basis. They pushed us out a little farther than we wanted to. I thought Amani really established her shot blocking and altered shots in that fourth quarter, and we only got hard shots. And conversely, we didn't get any second shot opportunities, which is how we really got ahead in the first half. It wasn't just how our first shots went, is that we were the ones getting second and third shot opportunities. So it was very difficult to watch, and really does come down to rebounding, and our players know that. And that feeds into the second part of your question, is that I think it's a tremendous learning experience. Right now, as a competitor, it just stinks to lose. I hate it. I wanted to win this game. Casey Swain was going to get to play the next game. She had gotten cleared to do that, and I just really wanted that for her. And, I'm disappointed. I'm frustrated. I'm mad as a competitor. As a leader of a program, I think we will learn tremendously. I told them in the locker room, when I think back to what they let last year teach them, and what we learned from the NIT experience, and how, most importantly, we applied it to an off season. We got better. We did work. We put in time, and we were different. And I have no doubt that this will teach our hearts and teach our choices, and we will be different again next year.
In the back. David.
Coach David Siegel from Hoop Feed. Can you talk for a second about just overall this entire season? The Pac-12 was treated with some disrespect early. They've had a lot of respect of late. But even just the whole ups and downs of going through the schedule and everything that went on with the Pac-12 season this year.
Well, I think, Mike said it actually after their win last night, is that you're going to have teams that make deep runs in the tournament that have double-digit losses, because the Pac-12, I think he called it a meat grinder. I think it's just prepares you so well, and not only the level of all the teams, but the different styles that we have in our conference. A lot of conferences have like a definitive style. We really have everything you can imagine. Teams that play up and down, teams that play zone, teams that play player to player, teams that press. I mean, there's just a whole wide range. But, I kept telling my colleagues all year long, I'm like, this is so fun. I mean, you got to grow every game or you get passed up. And it made me a better coach. It's moved our players' games forward. And, I think it doesn't have to be a horn we got to toot anymore. I think the numbers and the wins have, and how we've performed in the NCAA tournament has spoken loudly. And I'm a little bummed I let them down today, because everybody else was killing it yesterday in the Sweet 16. But, I just am really thankful. I think we're keeping recruits home to the West Coast. I think we're, we have really good coaches. And I think we have a group of coaches that see it as bigger than themselves. We've really worked collaboratively about how to move our conference forward. A couple years ago, we met as a group before the May coaches meeting and said, hey, what are we going to do about this? What are we willing to commit to as a coaching staff? And that would, as a whole group of coaches, and it wouldn't have happened if everyone didn't follow the plan, but everyone did, and it was more important to be about the Pac-12 than to just be about UCLA or anybody else, and now it's paying dividends.
Front row.
Coach Howard Magdo, Excel Sports. Congratulations on a great season.
Thank you.
Just to get back to what you were speaking about in terms of rebounding, you know, with Boyette, and you were nodding when Monique was talking about it just early on to get her into foul trouble. She had 1 rebound in the first half.
Yeah.
Is it simply a question of the idea was, you know, to hopefully get her to the point of fouling out, and that didn't end up coming to pass? You know, was there a change in terms of her strategy? You know, what led to sort of her effectiveness, and especially her effectiveness with physicality while having foul trouble already?
Well, I think they really said it right. We were the aggressor. And a lot of those fouls came, or one of them for sure, and early on is after an offensive rebound. She didn't box us out. We got an offensive rebound. That's a very hard place to not foul, and we were the aggressor. I mean, the way we set screens was the aggressor. The way we boxed out, we were the aggressor. The way we went to the basket, we were the aggressor. I mean, it was, you know, defensively, the way we took away their first and second option, we were the aggressor. And credit them that they were mentally tough enough to come back, and they became the aggressors. They said, hey, they punched us in the mouth, we're ready to punch back. And, you know, obviously I don't like it, but give credit to where credit is due. And, you know, it'll bring us just another step of toughness out of us. But it really was all about aggression. Who was going to make the aggressive play first? You know, I thought that really key play was they went and got the rebound. I can't remember who, and then number 10 stepped in and got that steal. I thought that was a huge momentum shift. You know, and I thought Texas showed maturity. And the way that they went to their defense, they got shots that they wanted to in the half court. A couple of times they isolated Brooke McCarty on the outside and then went right down the middle, knowing we couldn't help off McCarty and we didn't rotate quite quick enough. And they made tough shots over long players. I mean, Kennedy Burke's got a 6'5" wingspan, and that's not an easy shot. Credit them for making it and for playing the way they wanted to play down the stretch. It'll teach us. Right now it hurts too much to think about, but I know that watching that film, our players will be, they just are really a teachable group. And they are willing to look in the mirror. They're willing to say the hard things to each other. And, you know, we'll have to look at that because their aggression really was the difference.
Do you have any other questions for Coach Marvin?
Coach, you talk about a lot of things.
What are you trying to say?
What have you learned through the tournament process about your team and their DNA?
Well, it's interesting. You know, not one of these players have ever been through this. I mean, Nirra played a couple of minutes her freshman year, Casey a couple of minutes, Carrie, but really they weren't independent upon roles when we went to the NCAA tournament last time. So it was really fun to watch them. Like after we beat USF at home, and there's a lot of excitement, and it was so fun to share it with our fans. I was really curious if they had learned anything, for instance, from the Pac-12 tournament, that if you get too high, there's going to be proportionate low. And so I was really interested to watch how they came to practice. And they did. They learned, and they were hungry. They weren't. My team, I think they proved that. They weren't just satisfied to be here. They wanted to grow and get better and win. And I think the tournament just teaches you an intensity that how much every possession means, the urgency in which you have to prepare. You have to stay hungry all the time. One lapse of focus, you know, it gets you. And, you know, I'm sure we will look at a couple of possessions where there were some things under our control that we lost focus on. And, you know, it came back to bite us. But in terms of the intensity of the experience, watching a young team, you know, we played four sophomores a lot of the time. Watching them mature and internalize all that. What I love about the NCAA tournament is not only does it prepare them to be better basketball players, to become professionals, to really be an elite team, but it teaches them as young women to handle intense situations, how to prepare, how to have habits of excellence, how to handle all the external distractions. That's about preparing you for life. And as to watch them mature in that way, that doesn't go away. The rest of it ends at some point. You get 4 years. But what they're gaining from that as young women, that will be with them forever.
One last question from Doug here in the front row.
Hey, Coach. Congrats on a really nice season.
Thank you.
I know you were friendly with Gino, and you went to watch his team practice, obviously, in years past.
Mm-hmm.
Did you catch any of today's game beforehand? And if so,
yeah,
watching that, I mean, what do you think as a coach seeing that?
Oh, yeah. They are really good. You know, Gino and his whole staff have been really good to me. And, you know, it's been lots of people have talked about that. I've gone to watch them practice for extended days on 2 different occasions, and they were incredibly gracious. I've called and picked their brains on some things as I've tried to develop as a coach, and I really appreciate that. A lot of coaches wouldn't at his level, and it's their whole staff. I mean, it's Chris and Marissa and Shay. They wouldn't take that time to then pay it forward into helping me grow our program. So I'm appreciative of that. I think it's not just the level of excellence in which they're playing. It's the style and versatility and selflessness that they play with. They play extremely hard. They play both ends of the floor. They're incredibly versatile. They're high IQ, and they do it every night. That's not an easy thing. It's easy to say, hard to do. And they've just proven that over time. And, as a Wooden disciple, the way people talked about Wooden's teams and still talk about Wooden's teams is the way they're talking about Gino's teams right now. And they've earned every bit of recognition they're getting. They're setting the bar really high for people to reach, but our entire game will be better in the long term because of them, how high they've set that bar.
Okay, Coach, thank you. Congratulations on a
Thank
on a
you.
great
And thank
season.
you, media, for covering our great sport. We need you.